Hi guys, welcome to the Baby Sleep Magic podcast. This episode is actually a pre-recorded video that I did in regards to a frequently asked question that I get from a lot of my actual clients in regards to what to do when your baby wakes for the day and isn't interested in breakfast. This is a very common scenario that I find, whether it's with my own clients or in the community or random messages, emails and DMs that I get. So I thought I'd create a video about it. And this podcast is the audio from that video. So I hope you find it helpful and please feel free to share it with another mum or a friend. Hey guys, this week's video is actually going to be about what to do in the event that your baby or toddler wakes up for the day and isn't interested in breakfast. This is actually an FAQ that I get quite often with my own clients. So I thought it'd be beneficial to do a video on it and hope that it helps you guys at home. So first things first, all depends on when your baby's last feed is through the night. So my number one tip here is, first of all, the closer it gets to your baby's wake up time, so whether that's 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., the least amount of milk you want to be offering. So usually my rule of thumb to my clients is anything after around 3 a.m., if they wait for a feed, totally okay. We don't want to deny them of the feed. But whatever you offer them is to offer them a least amount of milk. So whether that's 4 or 5 minutes on the breast if you're breastfeeding, so you time it, or it might be 40 to 60 mils of milk in the bottle. Because what we want to do at that point in the morning, if around 3 to 5, 6 a.m., is take the edge off, get them back to sleep, but not get them sleeping for long, huge periods of time, because we don't want them really full and content and to wake up in the morning full and content. We don't want that. We want them to wake up for the day between 6 and 7-ish, depending on what time they went to bed, and be ravenously hungry. That's the key to success here. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is when they do wake up for the day, if they're under the age of 12 months and you're offering them milk first, we want to offer them a smaller amount of milk to begin with, especially for babies obviously on solids. So anywhere between 6 and 12 months, we want to offer them milk to begin with to start their day, but we don't want to be giving them a huge amount of milk first thing in the morning. So we don't want to be offering them both sides. And if it's bottle feeding, we don't want to be offering them a full bottle, which at that age might be anywhere between 120 to 180 mils. So what we want to do is halve it. So give them one side of the breast if you're breastfeeding, or obviously if it's a bottle, you might only want to be offering 60 or 80 mils at this point. Because what we want to do is once Bub has had that first milk feed, then we want them to play, get on the floor, roll around, pull themselves around, do some crawling, do some playing, do some whatever they want to. But we want to burn off that energy, and then we want to give them breakfast when they start showing those cues that they're actually hungry for breakfast. Because if you give them milk and then within 15, 20 minutes offer them breakfast straight away, in most cases, especially if they're not interested in food at the moment or they're only the beginning stages of their solids, they're really not going to be that interested in food because they're still full from milk, whether that's the overnight milk they're still burning off or the first thing in the morning that you gave them. So we want to get them to build up a little bit of an appetite before you offer them any breakfast. And it's just about watching those cues. There's no particular time that this happens. When your baby starts showing you those cues that they're hungry, which is usually that grumbly, clingy, needy, sooky, whingy noise that they do, that's your cue at that point to start getting breakfast ready and preparing it at that point. And also the key to success with babies, especially busy boys, and I'm not saying girls aren't, but girls usually are more happy to just sit around and just go with the flow, where boys tend to be very, very active and busy, and they're just not interested in sitting still for any longer than a few minutes at a time. So my advice at this point would be to prep everything in the kitchen before your little one sits in the high chair. Now, whether that's a bumbo or high chair, whatever it is, but have everything prepped in the kitchen. So as an example, if you've got a 10-month-old, it might be making sure that toast is toasted and buttered and cut, and you've got the Wheat Bix or the porridge or the whatever you're offering blitzed and made, and the fruit puree's in there and it's the right consistency and they're happy with the temperature, and you've got your spoons out, you've got a sippy cup of water out, you've got everything ready. And as soon as your 10-month-old is showing you those cues that they're getting cranky and hungry, they sit in the high chair, you pop the toast in front of them and they can play around and do whatever they do with the toast while you're in the background with the actual bowl of food and you're feeding them. And this is the key. You've really got a very small window time frame here. And all babies are really only capable of a small window of 10 to 15 minutes maximum.
That's maximum. Before they will start showing you those cues that they're full, they will start spitting out the food, they'll start pushing it away, they'll start arching their back, and they want to get out. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're full, it just means that your moment's gone. They're done, they're bored, they're over it, they want to get out and they want to play. And anything that happened before that was your opportunity for food, and anything after that, your moment's gone. So, and that's obviously really important with breakfast, because that's going to set up your whole day. And if you can get breakfast right and get breakfast, successful, then your whole day is going to flow, hopefully a lot better. And you can use that technique during the day as well, for lunch and then for dinner. Dinner, you usually got a longer period of time to offer dinner, and in some cases dessert, if that's what you're doing. But in particular, breakfast, I do get a lot of mums that come to me and say that their baby or toddler is just not interested in eating breakfast. And that's usually because they're either digesting the milk that they've had through the night, or they've had too much of a big feed of milk first thing in the morning, and you're offering breakfast too soon. So like I said in the very beginning, spacing it out, getting them to burn off whatever calories of milk that they've had previous, to burn that off so they are genuinely hungry, because your little one isn't going to be overly interested in eating unless they're genuinely hungry. And what you might find, you pop them in, they only have a few mouthfuls, and that's just not ideal, because then you're just on the back foot all day with food and you're kind of chasing your tail, which, isn't ideal. So yeah, look, I hope that helps. I hope that can maybe set you up in the right direction when it comes to offering breakfast and, tweaking things with your milk. And that's the thing, we don't want to not offer milk. We want to continue to do that, and they don't want to miss out on milk. And then after breakfast is done and finished, then at that point you can offer them the second portion of the milk. And that's something I did forget to mention just earlier. So and that might be before nap time. And I'm a huge advocate for offering milk before nap time, because it's really good indicator that we know that your little one is going to be full and content prior to them going down for a nap. And that's going to also increase your chances of getting a good nap and a better nap if they're fuller for longer. So if you are only offering, one side of the breast or half a bottle when they wake up, then they have breakfast, at 45 minutes, an hour later. Then obviously an hour or so after that, or before they go down for their nap, they can have the other half of the milk that they normally would have had first thing in the morning. So they're not missing out on milk. We're just kind of splitting the load a little bit to create more room and more interest for breakfast. So I hope that helps. Inside the app, you do have a personalized food guide depending on the age of your child. That might help guide you on what they can and can't have. And also, if you do have any other queries or questions, please feel free to ask them inside the community.